All right, so today we are working with the principle of design, contrast in your sketchbooks. We have looked at some examples of contrast. We are going to be working with contrast of color and value today. So we are looking at high value contrast, as in black and white, and we are also looking at color contrast, as in black and white. Today you will need to pick up a black strip of paper. It should be half the dimensions of your sketchbook panel. You will pick up a glue stick, and you are going to first need to glue this down onto your panel to work with, okay? Please remember to be gentle with the glue sticks, do not over crank them. Simply trace the shape with your glue sticks, okay? Then I'm going to twist it back down and cap it, okay? I'm going to take this and decide, do I want it on the inside or the outside of my sketchbook panel? Line it up with your corners and then flatten it down, okay? So with this, we are thinking about not contrast only as a tool, but also ideas that are contrasting. So maybe you're thinking of two contrasting ideas. If you struggle coming up with some ideas, you could certainly make a list of two items that are contrasting. For example, love and hate, life and death, peace and war are some examples, day and night. This is an example of a contrast entry I created last year. Okay, so I did a little bit of love and hate. We have the angel on the one side, we have the lightning bolts coming down, the angry face on the other side. So thinking of what is going to be something you are going to contrast, okay? So sometimes it helps to actually label these. So for example, since I did peace and war, I think I'm gonna do life and death on this one, just something different, okay? So I'm going to just label at the top of my two spaces, all right? So now I am going to think about what can I create that would kind of symbolize this. Maybe I'm going to create, maybe I'm gonna work with something, image of a flower, maybe an image of, like a ship. What do I want to draw that goes across both of these panels, okay? If you are really stuck on that, one of the things I like to tell people to do, and what we did here, is I am going to start with a portrait, and I'm going to draw two contrasting images of a person, or maybe even a creature. For example, we have the angel on one side, maybe the demon on the other side, okay? So that is one way you could absolutely start, and I'm gonna give you a quick demo of how I would start that. Okay, so I'm gonna find the center of my two pieces here, okay? I am going in with white charcoal. So the materials we have available to us are things like white charcoal that will show up on black paper. We have black pens, which will show up on the white paper. We even have gel markers that will show up on the black paper. And then we also have our Sharpies available, okay? So all of our tools are black and white, okay? So I am going to start with that idea of a portrait. Now you could make any image you want, okay? So I am drawing a simple oval that is in the middle of my two sheets. I am going to draw two lines down from the bottom of that oval for the neck, okay? Then I'm going to draw a little shoulder coming down using the white charcoal on that side and the black on this side. You could also just sketch it out with a pencil. That would show up on both, okay? So over here, I think I'm gonna make some sort of like maybe a skeleton or something, okay? That's just one of the first things I'm thinking about, especially the white charcoal looks really cool on the black paper when you draw that, okay? So I'm just going to sketch out some basic shapes that I find interesting. I will also provide you with a template for the portrait if that is something you want to do. You also do not have to draw a portrait, okay? Maybe you want to show maybe a sinking ship and a floating ship, all right? Maybe you just want to draw more a variety of objects that are opposites, okay? So again, we're thinking of contrast not only in our use of our tools, but also in idea. What are two ideas that are contrasting or different? Okay, so I'm just sketching out a little bit of a face there, okay? Again, you do not have to do a portrait either. Okay, using some line to make the hair. What is a contrasting thing to you? What are two ideas that you would like to illustrate that are different? Okay. The thing I like about the white charcoal is so you're kind of coloring in all of those areas that you would normally leave white so that it pops forward. I think I've seen other people do maybe a plane flying and maybe a plane crashing. Maybe like an image of war and an image of peace. Maybe a flower that's living and a flower that's dying. Maybe a whole apple and a part apple. Maybe a picture that is in the daylight and a picture that is in the nighttime. Okay, maybe in the daylight we see, you know, birds picking up seeds and rocks. Maybe in the nighttime we see little raccoons scampering across the image. Okay, so you can think of it in kind of two ways. Maybe I'm going to deal with like this portrait and I'm going to show like two sides of a person or two sides of an idea. Or maybe I'm going to show the same place at daytime and at nighttime. Okay. And so I'm going to continue to work on these. Remember, the requirement for these visual journals is that you use at least 3 materials, okay? That you have filled the background, that you have dealt with the space, that you are working with at least 2 elements of art, okay? And that you have really tried to make it true to you or meaningful to you in some way. Okay, so at this point, you know, now I'm going to think about what can I do with this background area here. Maybe I'm going to add something that does go along with this image. Maybe I want to do contrasting elements of line. Okay, so you can keep pushing that contrasting part. So maybe these are really jagged elements. Maybe on this side, they are more organic and flowing. Okay. So remember, you want to use the entire space of what you have available. Okay, thank you for listening.